fight over some money. I see Franklin, I find Van. I'm from the land. Don't say you hate LA, but live in LA and pretend. My neck on Tarantino, Alejandro Spike Lee. Just know you took the scenic route if you stand by me, stupid.
So fly in this 50 on me, don't die trying it. Warm up or down when I slide in this. Beamers and the jets outside in this. West side, get the money, yeah, that's for sure. Streets don't love you, better respect the code. Ain't no sleeping in on Sunday. If it's about the money, then my don't go.
KBLA Talk 1580. Look who just walked in to her theme song
with
over
my
here.
Theme
walk,
song.
walk.
Yes.
Jasmyne Cannick is here. She's an advocate. She's a member of the Democratic Party County Central Committee. She is a journalist, a Gen X award-winning journalist at that. Jasmyne Cannick, thank you for coming.
Good morning, Dominique.
Good morning.
Miles. Good morning, Los Angeles.
Man, all Kendrick and SZA shows were sold out in L.A.
As they should be.
Sister couldn't even get a ticket.
As they should be.
As they should be,
If you can't sell out your own city.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But a lot of us can't. I don't know. Congrats to him and says that it sounds like the shows are being well received everywhere they go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently, we were talking off the air. And a lot of times when Jasmyne comes in, we are talking left coast because I lure her in here at 6 a.m. But now we get to talk about national issues and international issues. And sometimes I get tired of looking at every speech and every tweet and every truth post that our president does.
I do not.
However, you were saying he has topped himself this weekend.
I don't know. I mean, just when you think he can't go any lower. I mean, his Easter post was unhinged, okay? And a lot of people were really put off by that. But then his Memorial Day rant, I'm just like, can we just have the holiday? Can we, for those of us who acknowledge what Memorial Day is about, can we have the holiday? But according to our dear leader, we cannot. He had a message to I'm going to pull it up so I can quote it exactly, but I know scum was in it. I remember that. I remember it starting off with being directed towards the scum or whatever.
I mean, the fact that they're arresting judges and they're so sort of, they're not being subtle at all about this dictator type language. I'm posturing.
No, it's again, we were talking over the break. It is exhausting trying to keep up with your own zip code as well as what's going on across the country. I do it because I just want to have a heads up at what's coming, what's happening. But we knew before the man got into office what time it was. And they have wasted no time in doing all of the things that they said they were going to do and then some. And, for me personally, it feels very scary wandering in this world. I know I did this post yesterday where I was like, I'm manifesting, peace, potato salad, and no MAGA encounters today as I leave the house.
No raisins.
I just it's a little it is overwhelming. His post yesterday just going on and on and on
in all caps.
And of course, it always in all caps, but just not acknowledging what the holiday, using the holiday. I mean, come. And then, for me, because of what I do for a living and what I've done for a living, I'm like, I know good and well you are not the one typing this up. I really want to talk to the person whose job it is to convey all of these messages.
Gosh, I feel so naive. You and Miles are like, hello. Because they always show pictures of him on his, like, looking like he's tweeting.
No,
Happy
I
Memorial
doubt
Day
it.
to all, including the scum that spent the last 4 years trying to destroy our country through warped radical left minds who allowed 21 million people to illegally enter our
Wait,
country.
stop right there. Now, how did he type 21 million?
21,000,000,000.
Comma 000, and then the word million.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
21 million, technically.
Technically. I'm just saying. So maybe he is the one doing
To
it.
illegally enter our country, many of them being criminals and the mentally insane through an open border that only an incompetent president would approve. And I feel like he's on drugs. To me, this is like, it's giving cocaine rant.
It's giving something.
I mean,
let me keep
alleged
my
cocaine
radio,
rant. Yeah.
my radio lingo in play, because I got a whole lot of words I want to use that are not safe for radio.
And through judges who are on a mission to keep murderers, drug dealers, rapists, gang members, and release prisoners from all over the world in our country so they can rob, murder, and rape again, all protected by the USA-hating judges who suffer from an ideology that is sick and very dangerous for our country. I mean,
Did you hear anything in that
that's
rant
not.
about?
We're not even at the end of it. It goes on
Right, and on.
and on.
And on.
And then
yes.
ends with, and God bless America.
I know. And it's like, this is the person who is leading our country. And the rant on Easter was very similar. Remember, he attacked the judges.
Yeah.
I am oftentimes reminded of that scene from Family Guy when Lois, I think, was running for mayor. And I think she was like, every time she said 9/11, I mean, the whole crowd just cheered. She didn't have to say 9/11. Everybody cheered. That's how I feel today. Like, as long as he says illegal immigrants,
And
rapists,
radical
murders,
left
and regular. Everyone just loses their mind on that side, and they just, yeah. Never mind that it's hurting you too. Never mind that it's lies. Never mind that it's propaganda. It reminds me of what's that? I think it's Kanye and Jay-Z song with the Will Ferrell clip that's like, what does it mean? I don't know what it means, but it's provocative. It gets them going. Yeah, it reminds me of that.
Yeah. I mean, it is funny, but then again, it's not, because when he says radical
he's
left
the
scum,
president.
he means
Us.
And that could be a problem.
Right. I guess. I mean, and then, it's I laugh even further because, the folks on the left don't think I'm radical enough. So,
Right, but folks on the right think
right,
you're too radical.
Too radical, right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those that don't think you're radical enough, Jasmine, but I love you anyway.
Exactly.
Is that bipartisanship? I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe if I quit the Democratic Party, it will be bipartisanship.
That's
But,
funny.
I mean, the point is, that's where we are, where you can't even disagree.
Oh no, it's and I hope folks in Los Angeles are paying attention. One of the things I'm going to be focusing on a lot over the next week or two is connecting the dots between what's going on in DC and what's happening locally. We have for example, we have a mayor here who is a proud Republican. Rex Paris is the mayor of Lancaster. Sorry for my folks out there in Lancaster. And he went on at a council meeting to say he wanted to give all the homeless people fentanyl.
Free fentanyl, yeah. That was
fentanyl.
crazy.
And it did not really get the attention that it deserved. But
Hardly
it's
any.
people like him who are creeping into these local offices. Now, granted, yes, he's been there for 6 terms, I believe, but my point still stands. Folks are running for school boards. They're running for your city council. They're running to be mayor, and they want to bring this MAGA mentality at the local level and wreak a lot of havoc. And if we are asleep at the wheel, we think it's bad in DC. And I always tell people what happens at your local city hall and at the county board of supervisors is going to affect you way quicker, way more than anything coming out of Washington, DC.
Not to mention we have more control over it.
We do. And so like this upcoming election season, which is in full effect as of now for 2026, folks need to be paying attention attention. And there, Los Angeles County is not just LA City. It's 88 cities and communities, many of which have their own governance. They have their own city council and mayor. And folks need to be paying attention to their school boards and their water boards, because these folks are coming for all of those seats to help enact Project 2025 and all of the things that Trump is trying to do at the local level. And he can only do those things if he has those folks in place in these very strategic positions. We've seen what he's done with his cabinet. We've seen what he's done with the Supreme Court. We've seen what he's done with federal judges. This is all part of
and the FCC.
Right. This is part of this bigger plan. And if folks are just paying attention to what's going on across the country and missing what's happening in their zip code, it's going to be too late.
No, I think that's right. I mean, what is the saying? Think globally, act locally.
I mean, that's what they say.
Yeah, because we have to know what's going on in the big picture. But and it's one of the reasons that I keep on talking about reparations, for example, because big or small, we continue to make progress on that, even with what's going on in Washington. And that's just one example.
Yeah. And there are a couple of other things that we could point to, but I think that for folks, particularly in Los Angeles, we just really need to pay attention to what's going on. We need to be paying attention, obviously, to the budget. And, by now everybody should know when, budget season starts. And I give a lot of props to Black Lives Matter Los Angeles and all the folks that work to do the people's budget and to help educate, folks around the budget, because the budget is a moral document. It dictates what our priorities are and what we value, right? Yeah. And, the time to complain about it is not after the ink is dry, not after the vote is done, That was supposed to happen. You were supposed to weigh in beforehand. And so as we go into this new fiscal year on July 1st, I think LA is going to look a little different, because things are, while they meaning the council members, worked really hard to save a lot of positions,
1,000 jobs they saved. Yeah.
We are still suffering. Like, we still don't have the money, right? We need to pay attention. And I was trying to explain to people, just if you don't live in LA and you're listening right now, you live in, like, I'll just say Inglewood or Compton, your budget process is very much the same. Like, it's just, we're just talking about LA. Like, all of these things happen at the same time every year, and folks need to really be paying attention, because you're going to be wondering, well, why isn't this being done, or why isn't that being done, or it's because we had to cut things in the budget.
I mean, I think the fact that the council decided to decrease the increase in police hiring, in other words, reduce police
Mayor
hiring.
Bass wanted 480. I think they settled on 240.
Right, to hire.
Yes.
And that's also, we can say those 1,000 civilian jobs were saved partly by tiny cuts to the police increases, which would not have been possible without Black Lives Matter LA, without all of the, white folks for white people for Black Lives, without all these groups that have been protesting, showing up at council meetings, and actually electing a more progressive bloc on the city council. You got Hugo Soto Martinez, you got Meonisis Hernandez, of course, Nithya Raman,
Isabel Jurado.
Right. So as that number of actual progressives, and it's funny because I remember a time when now Council President Marquise Harris Dawson was considered probably one of the more progressive members of council, no more.
I mean, it really just depends on like what your priorities are for the city. I know that there are people who consider themselves to be progressive who aren't necessarily happy that we're not adding more police officers to the street.
Right.
And I know there are people who are listening who are clutching their pearls and absolutely mortified by that. But there are people who, move about the city and see some things and wonder, who's running the city. I'm sure we all saw what happened on Washington Boulevard.
Yeah. But I mean, that can happen in any big city. A whole bunch of people whiling out.
It's happening here on a regular basis.
Why is crime down then? Jasmine? Why is crime down in almost
I'm
every
still
category?
drinking my coffee.
Okay, we'll talk about that when we come forward. Jasmine, see, we don't agree on everything. And public safety is one of those areas
We
where
do not agree on everything when it
clash,
comes to public safety.
Yeah, not at all. But it's all good because this is what makes for a robust conversation. Even though you haven't finished your coffee either. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DiPrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
We love you.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PUSH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PUSH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PUSH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Ooh, it really does feel like Monday. I never
It's
drink
Monday
coffee in the morning.
2.0. It's the Mondayest Tuesday ever.
Jasmyne Cannick is with me. You can find her on Hello Jasmine.
On
Most platforms.
Instagram, I'm Hello Jasmine. Facebook, I'm Jasmine. I'm not really on, X and stuff that much anymore, but I'm Jasmine there. Or just Google me or go to my website. I am Jasmine. It comes up. It's interesting. I don't know if this is the same for you, Dominique, but as I get older, I have less whatever about social media. So I've kind of chosen what I'm going to deal with. And all the others, I sporadically post on when I remember. So I'm pretty faithful to Instagram and Facebook. but Blue Sky, Threads, X, even LinkedIn, sometimes I forget about them.
Yeah. I know. I'm the same. I'm most reliably found on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm doing more because I have a YouTube channel. Nobody knows it.
I follow
diprimaradio. Thank you, Jasmine. Okay, so I know this is petty, but
you know I'm here for the petty. You know I'm here for the petty.
Okay, so that video of the First Lady of France pushing the President of France's face, and it's become an international scandal. Even though because it kind of looks like he's a battered man or something.
First of all, something went
joking.
down. It really is not our business. But since the cameras were there and the cameras caught it, yes, it has become international fodder enough to the point where he felt like he had to issue a statement. Although I will tell you, I think he is lying. It is clear. You and I both know what a real argument looks like. And the look on his face when he realized that had been caught on camera told me everything I needed to know.
Yeah, I mean, we're not stupid. If you were flirting and joking with your wife, you guys would be laughing. Or at least smiling. You would at least have a little mischievous look on your face like, ha ha ha, these are the games we play.
He had the same look on his face that Blue Ivy had on her face when Rumi said whatever Rumi said that day on stage, and Blue Ivy looked over her shoulder and the look in her eyes was like, if I could, I wish I knew what she had said.
To me, that was you about to be in trouble. Yes. Wait till the show is over. You about to be in trouble.
And here's the thing. I don't. Why do we work? This is the whole thing about social media too. Why do we work so hard to be so fake? If you had an argument with your wife, who doesn't have an argument with their partner?
Yeah, but their wife doesn't shove them in the
whatever,
face.
Maybe he deserved it, but don't act like. Don't try to gaslight.
Don't put hands on your partner.
Don't try to gaslight the global community. Okay, we know what we saw, and you are not gonna change my mind on that.
Yeah, they weren't playing.
They were not playing.
They were not playing.
And y'all should go, if you haven't seen the video, you can go look at the video and you can hit me up on Insta and tell me if I'm right or I'm wrong.
I'm just going to say, even if he deserved it, don't put your hands on your partner.
Okay, that's what she said. I'm just saying, I don't know what happened.
It's called domestic violence. You're saying it might have been self-defense?
For all we know, that could have been a return push.
Yeah.
Because the camera started rolling at a certain point. We don't know.
Okay, keep that same energy you've had for black people that push their partners. Same energy.
I mean, my point in all of it, I get your point, right? Keep your hands to yourself, which, I agree. But I will just say that whatever happened between the two, like I said, do not try to gaslight a global community. We know what we saw.
Can you imagine if Michelle Obama had done that to Morocco?
Oh, my goodness.
That would be the end of the world.
It sure
The whole
would
end
be.
of the world. Anyway, Kwamel's reminding me that he asked about cuts to Medicaid and would it affect all of us? And I believe it does. The cuts in this terrible toxic bill.
Yeah, we have to definitely rebrand that bill with another name because it is not the one big beautiful bill.
It's all bad. So let's think about this. If cuts to Medicaid are going in California, it's Medi-Cal. It's not just seniors, it's also people who are medically needy. That means children sitting next to your child in school may no longer have medical coverage, which means they won't get care when they're sick, which means they're going to get your child sick. That's just one small example.
Yeah, it's for me, I tend to I try to look at things through the lens of like sort of the broader community, but then I also look at how things like that affect me in my actual personal life, right? So I look at the people I know who are on Medicaid. I listen to folks who are telling me about their inability to get their insulin or, just things like that. And I'm just like, I am just so concerned about this for them because for right now, this is affecting them right now. A lot of us aren't on, like younger folks may look at that and say, oh, well, that even though they're wrong, but they may be thinking, oh, that's for when you're older. It's not going to affect me. It's like, no, sweetheart, this is definitely going to affect you.
I mean, just look at the number of unhoused people we already have.
Right.
Which is what now? I was reading over the weekend close to 200,000 in California or something like that. Some of those folks are there because they couldn't pay medical bills, may have pushed them into not paying rent or whatever, or they didn't get care. Now you're talking about more people on the streets because more people don't have care, or they're trying to choose, like you said, between medicine and rent.
Yeah, and that's just really something a person shouldn't have to do. You shouldn't. And this is the part that I've constantly questioned this country about, which is just basically like, when it's election time, we're always being told the people are the heartbeat of this country. The people are we're everything. But you don't reflect that. You don't bring that same energy after you get elected. You actually, this administration acts like they hate the people, actually.
Yeah.
You want to do everything possible
hate
to
the
make
people
sure,
or hate black people?
Hate the people. Anyone that's not in their group. And sadly, even those poor white folks who are supporting Trump think that he is for them and he is not for them. As some of them have found out, who have lost their jobs, are being affected by the cuts in the which I find hilarious too, because the talking points for the Republicans are not to say their cuts, the reforms.
Right.
But they're being affected as well. And I just feel like we are being gaslit as a nation right now on just about everything. And, folks can hold on to that. Oh, but he's cleaning up the country. He's getting the bad people out, all you want. But that is not going to save you. And no, he's not doing that either.
It's a perfect time to call us. Jasmyne Cannick is here. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The number is 800-920-1580. We've got news, traffic, and sports, then more. Only right here.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
I'm Alexandria Ikamoni with BIN News Now. 3 more black escaped New Orleans inmates are now back in custody. 8 of the 10 black inmates have now been recaptured since they broke out of the New Orleans Justice Center on May 16.
I think there is some relief, but the last 2 out are very dangerous as well. So we're not going to give a total sigh of relief till all of them are back in prison.
Several people have been arrested for helping the escapees. Former New York Congressman Charles Rangel has died at the age of 94. Rangel was elected to the U.S. House in 1971 and served 46 years in the chamber before retiring in 2017. He was a founding member of the Congressional Black Caucus. Drake is confirming the return of OVO Fest. The festival has been on a hiatus for the last 3 years, but Drake said the event will return to Toronto as soon as this summer. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Uh-oh. She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Is this the takeover? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Two different outcomes for LA's baseball teams on Memorial Day. The Dodgers got home runs from Shohei Ohtani and Will Smith in a 7-2 win at Cleveland. The teams meet up again tonight. After winning 8 straight, the Angels have lost 3 in a row. The Yankees beat the Angels 5-1. The Angels will try again tonight with the Yankees at Anaheim Stadium. Oklahoma City is only 1 win away from the NBA Finals. They beat Minnesota 128-126 to take a 3-1 lead in the Western Conference Finals. 40 points, 10 assists, and 9 rebounds for OKC guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the NBA MVP. This young brother is fun to watch. His mid-range game is outstanding. Game 5 is Wednesday night in OKC. Game 4 in the Eastern Conference Finals is tonight in Indianapolis. Indiana has a 2-1 lead over New York. The LA Sparks are back in action tonight in the WNBA. They're at home against the Atlanta Dream. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk Radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emmanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emmanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emmanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach, transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal, prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
Another black political giant has fallen. Representative Charlie Rangel, who's one of the founding members of the Congressional Black Caucus, died on yesterday. He was 94 years old, and he had retired in 2017. Unlike many members of Congress who decide to stay there until they leave the building, he actually got out. But he was in the House from 1971 until 2017, Jasmine.
Long before... Let me move my mic over here. That's funny. Long before I was born. But yeah, he, hearing the news, I just thought about Mervyn Dimely. I thought about Nate Holden. I think about these, like you said, black political giants who really paved the way for so many of the folks you see on the main stage today. So many of them. And they did a lot of great work. And had it not been for them, we wouldn't have had an Obama. We wouldn't have had so many other folks that came along. So, yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I think I'm probably less tuned into him because he's, a New York guy.
Harlem.
And yeah, the Lion of
Lenox,
which is a street in Harlem, in case you're paying attention. Not paying attention. But we were just talking last week about whether the CBC does anything or not. And Fahima Sek, who's one of our KBLA delegation members, is also actually a radio host in her own right, had written, had sent me a piece about paying tribute to him and talking about how she interned for him and the important work that the CBC does, because I had co-signed someone calling saying, what do they do? And I said it depends who's leading at any moment. But they definitely have a lot of parties. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I don't think now's the time to be partying, but I do understand what you are saying. I mean, it is something I question myself, not just the CBC.
But I mean, from your view, what do they do from your view on besides parties on the on the organizing side? I mean, we know they have scholarships.
I'm still drinking my coffee.
Oh, we know.
Dominique.
Okay.
That's so unfair of you
Sorry.
to hit me with such a hard, deep question this early in the morning that I can't answer with a straight face. No.
Okay. Well, I mean,
I'm sure there is stuff that they think that they do. But again, it's 2025. And if the majority of folks do not feel like the CBC is doing anything, then even if they are doing something, they're not doing anything. You understand what I'm saying? Like they, and that's the same for quite a few bodies that I can think of, that just don't do a really great job of getting messaging out. And not just getting the message out, but what that message should be so that folks are just sort of aware that, hey, no, they're doing this, they're doing that. And really, honestly, coffee or no coffee, I could not sit here with a straight face right now and tell you, well, the CBC is blah, blah, blah. And I am one of those people that pay attention to what's going on in DC.
I know.
But no, absolutely not.
Okay, Fahima's probably going to call us again, and that's fine. We welcome you.
But we are sad about the passing of
Charlie Rangel. Charlie Rangel actually did have a scandal, an ethics scandal.
He did.
He survived it and got reelected. It was pretty minor, though. It wasn't like something, dollars in a refrigerator. He was censured, though.
The freezer, not the refrigerator. The freezer.
Sorry, cold gas. But I mean, he was censured, which is relatively rare, but then he was reelected and went on to serve quite a while after that.
Yeah. He had a long career. And, like I said, he paved the way for many, many folks, not just coming out of New York, but throughout the country, to be able to be in the positions that they are today, the Jasmine Crockett's of the world, all of those folks. So, we owe him a debt of gratitude, and, we are grateful that he was here.
Yeah. Widely respected. A lot of members of Congress stepping up with statements, including Hakeem Jeffries. But I think one of the reasons, Fahima or anyone else, that we're talked that way about the CBC is because we are in a crisis in America for particularly people of African descent and Black Americans even more than that. So it's like, for me, I just want to see you do more. I don't want to see this moderate, talking point press release come to life. I want to see some action. And I think that's one of the reasons why my brother got so much traction when Trump decided to have him arrested at a nice facility. And then they dropped the charges because they realized he's getting too much press, and this is going to help his election bid. Ras Baraka, of course, is who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The election is June 10th, by the way. Ras Baraka for governor. That's the website. Ras for governor. RAS.
Yeah, that backfired on them in a real way. But we've seen that happen before. And, I need people to color outside of the lines right now.
Yes.
And we just have folks that want to stick to the script. And, this weekend is a perfect example of that. Many people, you probably don't know this, y'all, but the California Democratic Party is having its state convention this upcoming weekend in Orange County.
Nobody knows that.
And for the low price of $140, you can be an observer if you want to. That, and you got to pay for your gas and your parking and all of that. But, out of this convention is going to come nothing surprising because the same people are going to get reelected. But
you have to. Do you have to go to that? You have to go. I mean, you're an LA County delegate.
I am going because I have agreed to go. Because some folks asked me to come, and so I have agreed to go, but I'm not excited about it. I don't think that they've done a particularly good job of reaching out to California Democrats to get them involved in the process, especially not charging folks $140 just to sit in and see what their party is doing.
To sit there and be bored. You're a delegate.
I'm a delegate in the county party. I don't really participate as much in the state party. I do belong to a few caucuses. The Black Caucus, the LGBTQ caucus. I think I did join the Veterans Caucus as a supporter. But there are some caucuses that I support in the party. But
what would you consider quitting the party was my question.
Quitting the Democratic Party?
I mean, nobody coloring outside of the lines. The only colors that they have are beige.
No, absolutely not. I will not quit the Democratic Party as long as the majority of black people are registered to the Democratic Party. Wherever black people are is where you are going to find me. But at the same time, I am not going to go along to get along. I'm not going to just be quiet. I'm not going to just vote the way they want me to vote. I'm not going to not challenge them. They do need to be challenged. They do need to be pushed to be better. And I want to be one of those folks. And there's a lot of us that have that sort of attitude that, yeah, we know we could walk away from the party and be apolitical or join some other party. But no, we would rather stay and fight because the majority of the people we care about or the issues that we care about they rest, squarely within the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party needs to change. I mean, like I said before when you and I were talking, Gavin said the party is toxic. I'm like, well, you gave us the poison. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
so let's go talk to Charlie Kirk because he's not toxic.
Right, exactly.
What?
Yeah.
It's making my head hurt, but not really because I got my tea. But two things, I guess one we can talk about when we come forward. But
Sure.
Speaking of you not going along to get along, we were supposed to follow up on us not agreeing on public safety.
Oh, Lord.
Because
you think because I drank some more, I'm ready for you. We can do this after the break.
Ready.
We can do this.
After news, traffic, and sports. And then, of course, there's the other issue of whether Kamala Harris should be running for governor and what your thoughts are.
Whether she should be or is she...
Both
let's get and shots have been fired in that race that's not really a race yet, but really is a race,
and which everybody's running,
right?
Except we don't know if Kamala is. Except maybe
do
you
we?
do. I think maybe you do. Okay, we'll address all of that when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply. Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text EQUAL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text EQUAL to 321-321. That's EQUAL to 321-321.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
It's me, Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. I see those dry elbows, baby. But don't worry, get moisturized right in the shower. So hydrated you can skip the lotion after.
Don't wanna see it dry no more. Skin so moisturized with body wash.
Look at you now, no more dry skin. Your skin gets the moisture it craves with
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
And today it's winning in the form of journalist and delegate Jasmyne Cannick. I am Jasmine with a Y.
Jasmyne.
So Jasmine, I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but when it comes to smash and grabs and the downtown wiling out, whatever that was this weekend, you tend to be, we need more cops, and I tend to be more cops. Cops respond after the fact. They don't stop stuff from happening.
I tend to be, I want to address the root causes of these issues, but
okay, we agree on that.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, we do need to agree. We have to address the root causes.
But at the same time, I also want to be able to walk down my street without clutching my keys like Wolverine or something. I want to be able to, it's like you can be progressive and still want to feel safe in the world that you're trying to help
understand. But what makes us safe? I mean, look, I'm not an all-out abolitionist, but I do think we're going to have to dismantle a lot to get to something that makes me safe. I'm going to clutch my keys just as much if I see a cop as if I see, probably more.
And I'm not saying that I don't, but what I am saying is that we cannot just let things happen and not do anything about it. Like there has to be, and this is the part where our community, is clearly and definitely split. But I am on the side of folks who don't want to lock everyone up, but they don't want to let everyone out, that we do want to see, we do want to make sure that bad behavior is punished, but we are looking at what is that punishment. You steal a candy bar, should you go to prison for 25 years?
I mean, and the question is,
absolutely not.
What punishment rehabilitates? What punishment is for the greater good? And it's meant to be rehab more than punishment. But anyway.
But I mean, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, look, I worked to put Ed Buck in prison. He's in prison for 30 years. People would argue that he deserves to be in prison for 30 years.
And I'm one of those people.
Right. He was harming people. Two people died in his apartment. Another one almost died, right? So it really depends. But I get so, incensed a little bit because I hear this a lot, like, oh, you can't be progressive if you think that we need police. I absolutely can be, and you're not going to change that. That is who I am. I am progressive. I do care about criminal justice reform. I work on criminal justice reform, but I also care about public safety. I want to be able to live in the world too. I want to be able to move through the world. I want to get in my car and drive down the street, not be surrounded by a bunch of teenagers on bikes, having my windows bashed in or having my car spray painted on just because some folks didn't raise their kids.
And more cops is going to stop that?
I'm not saying the answer to that is more cops, right. But I know what the answer isn't, just letting them run wild. If their parents aren't going to raise them and take care of them, what do we do as a society? You saw the video of what happened to those people in their car at that Ralph's on Vermont and Adams. This is now an every weekend occurrence. It happens all over the city, all over the county.
Not every weekend.
Basically, yes.
No.
Please, yes, Dominique, you don't even pay attention to that kind of stuff like I do. I'm telling you it happens every weekend.
Okay, so now...
Especially if it's sunny.
We're not going to go, yes, it does. No. But whatever. You have... It's interesting because you were on a public safety group, a task force under George Gascon,
yes,
which we thought were going to go away. And now the new DA...
Nathan Hochman.
Yeah. I'm going to refrain from comment because you're here, has decided to keep those task forces, and he's appointed you to one of them?
Yes. So under George Gascon, who actually started the first African-American advisory board for the DA's office, as well as a bunch of other ones. Got to give DA Gascon credit for that, right? And I was on that advisory board when Nathan Hochman came to office, like anybody else would do. They dissolved all the boards and,
that's what they always do.
Right. And then put out calls for folks who wanted to be involved again. I did indicate that I was interested in continuing to serve. I'm happy to say that I was selected. I did not think I would be, just because I did support Gascon, right? And I did serve on the previous board. But I would like to think that it's not a political board. It is a board of people who care about public safety and the role of the district attorney's office in our community. And so that being said, the DA Hochman, appointed me back to the board, and I'm very pleased and happy about that, and happy to continue serving in the community. Again, these are all volunteer positions. None of us get paid to do the work that takes place on these boards. And there's a women's advisory board. There's a Latino, like there are different groups, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm happy to be a part of that, because I really do care about criminal justice reform and public safety. And you can care about both, and they are not the same necessarily.
Well,
I know you look like you're over there biting your tongue. You look like you're
I'm trying not to say our new MAGA mini me DA.
Oh no, I no comment, because
Exactly.
I can't, obviously with my being on the board,
I'm not expecting you to comment, but since you're trying to pull it out of me, Paulie wants to know if you saw the San Bernardino police body slamming that 17-year-old on her face, and then justifying it in their press release. A takedown maneuver was used.
Yeah.
For the press. No, you took a little kid and slammed her on her face, and I guess he's asking in the context of public safety, how does that keep us safe?
So I'm going to give you my very political answer to that. Okay.
Black
that
Lives
happened in
Matter.
San Bernardino County.
Oh.
It has nothing to do with LA County. I'm just kidding. But no. I haven't seen the video yet. I've heard the story. I'm going to check the video out. It is traumatizing looking at so many videos every day, every week of Black people being killed, being hurt, being disrespected, being called the N-word. So I really do, I don't want to say limit, but I check in with myself, and I give myself breaks on the weekend and stuff like that from looking at certain things.
Yeah. That's me on Saturdays. I don't want to hear it.
See, exactly. So
Sunday, I'm good, not Saturdays.
I'm going to check that video out, but I did hear about it. But look, just hearing, the details doesn't sound good, right? A child being body slammed. I mean, as an adult, that would hurt. So I know as a child that probably hurt, just physically, not to mention the emotional and mental damage. But it is also San Bernardino. And San Bernardino is notoriously conservative. When I was speaking earlier about Lancaster's mayor, I mean, you have a lot of those types of folks out in the cities in San Bernardino County, which trickles down to their police department. And it's not the first time it's not the first time I have heard of stories coming out of San Bernardino of abuse. And we have seen lawsuits in the past as well that have been filed against San Bernardino for police abuse.
Okay, so we're going to leave that there for now. The question we said we'd follow up on.
The governor's race.
Is she running? Isn't she running?
I think she is. I think she's running. I think Kamala Harris is becoming more and more public, which is something that you would want to do if you were getting ready to do a launch. It was always, kind of said and reported in the news that any decision about running, which, timing wise, this is exactly right, would happen in June. The election is next year. One thing of many things working in her favor is the fact that she has huge name recognition over all of the other folks who have declared that they're running. So that gives her a little bit more time to decide what she's going to do, because she doesn't have to build up like, hey, I'm Kamala Harris. Like, people know who she is.
She's got the name ID, right?
She does.
But if she was to be Trump, obviously if she was elected, she would become this administration's enemy number one. Does that bring more problems for California?
I don't know if it brings more problems. Maybe maybe he focuses on us more, but he already focuses on us. He does not like our current governor. So I just think that.
But don't like a YT person is really different than don't like a Black woman. You see how he did Mayor Bass when he was in town.
I absolutely did see that. The man is unhinged. He acts like, Obama and Harris like ghosted him in a group chat or something, and Biden as well. The way that he focuses, so it's like, you won, you're the one in office, but you still keep talking about your ex every single day. Like, that's how I look at him. Like, he's he's a narcissist with this narcissistic personality. So if she wins, I don't see too much of a difference because he talks about her now. What was the rant last week? How much did Beyonce get paid to help promote? He's always talking about her regardless.
Why are people still interested? I mean,
I think the question is, will she be good for the state of California in this time right now? And that's what I think voters need to be thinking about. This is not a proxy war, so her winning doesn't mean, we screwed Trump in some way. We just need to be making sure that out of all of the candidates, she is the one that's going to be best for the state of California.
And speaking of shots fired, you were referring to Villaraigosa, kind of throwing her and Javier Becerra under the bus, the former HHS secretary, who is also now running for governor.
Yeah. So over the, I don't even think it was over the week. I think it was like Friday or Thursday of last week. There was a story that ran saying that Villaraigosa basically, fired shots at Becerra and Harris for not speaking sooner about Biden's decline, his cognitive decline, the issues that he had. And this was shortly after the news had come out about Biden's cancer diagnosis. And so Villaraigosa, everybody should know, former LA Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa is running for governor, as well as a number of other people, and probably Kamala Harris as well. And we will be voting in that primary in June 2026 with that general in November 2026. So folks are gearing up and they're basically campaigning at this point. They're, and that was a step I guess Villaraigosa's team thought was a good step to help set him apart from the bunch and get him out there.
And definitely a bold step.
But what would they have said? What could they have said?
Who's sitting vice president? Who's going to throw the boss under the bus? That's stupid.
Exactly. Like, what? I mean, if he had been in the same position, I don't know that he would.
He wouldn't have said Jack, because the vice president's main job is to make the president look good at all times. So it's, but
exactly.
He won the news cycle.
That day. Yes.
That day. Jasmyne Cannick, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Everyone have a great day.
Appreciate you always, girl.
No problem.
All right. Call me now, 800-920-1580, KBLA.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Alexandria Ikamoni with BIN News Now. 3 more Black escaped New Orleans inmates are now back in custody. 8 of the 10 Black inmates have now been recaptured since they broke out of the New Orleans Justice Center on May 16.
I think there is some relief, but the last 2 out are very dangerous as well. So,
the escapees. Former New York Congressman Charles Rangel has died at the age of 90.